good Tuesday evening to all of you out there enjoying your fine playoff week pregame shenanigans, I would assume. Welcome into episode 137. I think it's 137. It might be 136, 8, 9. I'm not really sure. I'm Jacob. That's Casey Kitteman. Nick is on assignment. He's very distraught, but he is on assignment. We gave him a very important task to figure out. So he's out there. We're brought to you as always by our friends over at Homage Apparel. I have the Angry Runs, David Njoku going on. We got the Make 'em Know Your Name on the other side. So make sure you go check it out. Link in the description down below if you're on YouTube to Homage. If not, hop on over to Homage and tell them we sent you. Casey, how are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic, man. It's playoff week, dude. I did the math earlier and it was depressing because I've been following this team for 35 years, man. This will be only my 8th playoff game. It's just embrace it, man. This is why we do this. This is why we watch. This is why we talk about it. You know what I mean? So what we got in front of us right here, enjoy the run up, the lead up to it, and embrace it. Embrace the anxiety, the butterflies, all that. You know what I mean?
And embrace Nick Carnes cashing in on his receipts on Twitter.
Yes, I do. I love that. That made my day. I hadn't been on my phone all day, and then I saw one. Then I saw more, and I'm like, oh, he's doing the Lord's work today and calling people out.
There was a clip from the Ringer podcast where they referred to the Browns before the season, their defensive roster as atrocious.
Oh, no, I'm calling names. That was Benjamin Solak. I went and listened to it after I talked to you. That was Benjamin Solak. So, Ben, be better, my man. That was atrocious.
You're smarter than that. He is smarter.
He is.
But we got a special guest tonight, and I'm gonna let Casey introduce our special guest because we got a lot of shit to say. So let's get on with the shit saying.
Look, man, I'm sad that Nick couldn't be here because Nick is our vibes guy. He's the vibes of this show, no doubt. And the guest we have tonight, he's your favorite vibe. This dude is a movement at this point.
Yeah.
And dude, if you're on socials and you're riding this train watching this season, you've seen this cat's videos.
Oh,
and as someone who we do live watch alongs, this dude's energy is unbelievable. And he's a hell of a lot of fun to talk to. So we got him on the show tonight. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Chef Zae.
Woo! Clap, 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 clap. What's going on, Zae?
What's going on, boys? How you guys doing? Appreciate you for having me.
Oh,
I appreciate you making the time, man.
Oh, yeah, pleasure.
I watched your video with D'Anthony Bell telling you that Schwartz had showed your videos to them. That's fucking cool shit right there, man. That's awesome.
Bro, I'm finally, it's 8:15 today. I'm finally starting to come off the high a little bit, but man, I shed some it was the first real moment where I was like, okay, I think it's here now. So I shed some real tears yesterday. I had to get off the stream before it got ugly.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's the good shit, man. I thought I would be appropriate, so I brought my friend Steve.
I see him back there. I didn't even see that. That's funny. Look at them. They just look ugly as hell all the time.
It's just I'll put Steve back there. He'll rock the Martin Emerson jersey for tonight. Oh,
you got a friendly one over there. You're nice to yours?
No, not really.
Oh, well, you can't put a Browns jersey on him. That's not fair.
Well, he doesn't have it on, and he's just next to it. He's not.
Okay.
He's naked. I don't even dignify him with clothes.
Okay, that's fair.
Screw that.
He must be a Steelers fan.
Yeah, he is. That's why I beat his ass.
Yeah.
That's why his name's Steve. This show's quickly going off the rails. All right, that's on me. I'm like, we're going over here. We're not even talking about oh no, our good friend Mitch, he has bronchitis. Is that what that says? Bronchitis. Oh shit.
Yeah, no, I had that last week, bro. It's about
so that's what's gonna go around next.
Yeah,
it's like a cycle,
apparently, man. I don't know. I also have a pinched nerve. Hopefully, you guys don't get that.
I had that last week. I think my back was messed up, or the week before.
Everybody's just falling apart. I turn 33 next week, and I fully expect for my hip to give out.
You know what's crazy though? We don't miss time. Pinched neck, bronchitis. We're here. No. We're doing the work. We show up. We lace them up.
No IRs for us.
So let's start with the news portion, and then we'll dive into this game a little bit as we kind of move down through there. Just off the top, and I'll give you guys both an opportunity to kind of share any takes you have about in relation to this. But Stefanski said it is unlikely that Dustin Hopkins will kick on Saturday. Good thing is they are in a dome, so I'm fully confident that Riley Patterson will be just fine in a dome down in Houston. I'm not concerned about that. I would love D-Hop to be out there because he's earned it and he deserves the opportunity to kick in a playoff game. But I mean, he's got 3 more playoff games.
Facts.
We
lost him.
Son of a
He's
bitch.
Oh, we're back.
We're back. All right. We're already motherfucker.
Thought the palsy kicked in.
So I was like, oh my God, here we go. So, and then the good news just from Kevin Stefanski, the potential that Grant Delpit could return for Saturday. He said it is possible. Just any takeaways from those 2 pieces of news?
Well, the D-Hop one, man, it's like, I just hope we don't need him. I hope the kicker is not the factor when it comes to this game. You know what I mean? I think they can put it on Houston. I'm just being real. I'm not trying to be too confident. I respect what CJ can do, but the reality of the situation, Vegas expects the same. You know, you're a road favorite. You go down there, you take it to them. I don't see it coming down to a last second kick. And with Patterson, I think that it's kind of be easy. You got to just give him layups. I'm not looking for 50 plus yarders from Riley Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just make your extra points and heaven forbid, you know, maybe a couple 30 yarders. Other than that, just keep it on the rails. The Grant news is huge. I'll say that. You know what I mean?
I'm excited for Grant.
Yeah, and because he was having such a good season, man, and he's a difference maker because he's an X factor. You can move that dude all around your defense. He's a chess piece for Schwartz that other teams have to identify when they come to the line. And when you're facing a rookie, if you got a chess piece that you can move around and just be that X factor, I mean, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, my initial reaction when I heard it was, oh, okay, we're about to see a shootout, or not a shootout, but we're gonna see some points. Like, I think Joe Flacco is gonna be ready to air this thing out. I think off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure he's averaging like 40 passes a game, like 42 passes a game or something like that. I expect a 50 ball, like 50 passes this game. Because if you're gonna, number one, I don't think Jim Schwartz is going to allow this game. I don't think the defense is going to allow this game to get to that point to where it's like, hey, we need a kick. Because as good as CJ Stroud has been, this is the playoffs and he is a rookie. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care how great you're playing. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes, he has to do it. Obviously, I'm not saying he's not capable of doing it. But until we see it, I'm not going to buy that Jim Schwartz is going to allow a rookie quarterback and a rookie head coach to come up here and carve up this defense. So I'm not gonna say I'm overly confident, but I'm confident in our ability this week.
Hey, I'm there, man. Like I said, like you're in a dome. You got Riley Patterson. It wants his career 88%, 89%, like something like that. He has a career number. He can't kick it. He can't kick a deep ball. Like you said,
he can't kick an extra point. That's our problem. So it's like maybe, honestly, I'm almost thinking if they play the numbers game and go the Pittsburgh Steelers route and go for twos and just let him get the shots that he's comfortable with, which is those mid-40 range, and take those money shots. Because at this point, why even if the reason why he got cut from the Lions was because he missed 2 extra points, and then his first extra point with us was a mixed extra point. So just go for the 2. I mean, why not?
I'm not going to argue with that. I like points. You ain't going to get any opportunity. Like, you should hear me, like, during the games, and in case he's done, 6 streams with me now. So I'm just like, hey, go for it. Just go for it. Like, I'll just start yelling at the scrum. Just go for it. I don't give a shit. Just go for it. Mitch weighs in, wants to know if there's any injury resolutions. First day of practice today for the game. Since it is a Saturday game, they did practice today. You had some of the obvious still sit out. Greg Newsome missed, but I know Newsome also said on Twitter when someone asked him how the knee was, he said it was fine. So he didn't practice. The only thing about the players that didn't practice today that is I think really relevant is Cedric Tillman. Cedric Tillman remains in concussion protocol, so he didn't practice. But Stefanski did say the rest of the wide receivers were good, indicating that they believe Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore are where they need to be and they'll play Saturday. And that's when I started thinking, oh, okay, so hold up. We're going to get Cooper back. Elijah Moore was good enough to play on Sunday because he played 7 snaps. Your offensive line's healthy. Jerome Ford's been playing better lately. David Njoku is just on another level right now. And then on top of all that, I'm like, oh, we got our weapons. I'm getting, and I've been trying to is it tamper? Is that your temper? What? Temper? I don't know.
Temper. There we go.
Tomato.
Yeah, just say them both. just say both words. One of them's right. I've been trying to really regulate my expectation, my excitement, because I don't want this week to drag. Because, when you're super excited, you're like, oh, my God, I can't wait for Saturday. And you're like, shit, it's 8:24 on the Tuesday. What are we doing here? But did you see the Mary Kay Cabot post with the Joe Flacco quote from this afternoon? Did either of you see that?
I don't see Mary Kay stuff.
Are you blocked?
Yes, I am.
He's blocked. That is
screenshots only.
What was it? Because I might have saw it.
So I just saw it just a little bit ago, but it was a conversation with Flacco. What was this here? So anyway, in the midst of his playoff message to teammates on Tuesday night, he slipped in, something's going to happen. This is a quote from Flacco. Something's going to happen over the next 5 weeks that we're going to remember forever.
This is what it's like. I'm not ready for the conversation, but damn, it's going to be a doozy one in the offseason. Because here's the only thing that I want to take away from all this, and I just hope that, and I have we got a $230 million quarterback that we got coming back next year. And the one thing that I hope he sees is just what Joe Flacco has brought to this team, because it will show if come next season things don't look right. It's going to be rocky. I'm not talking about it now because we got playoffs, but I'm basically trying to emphasize the value of how well his leadership is. And DeAnthony Bell kind of talked about it on the podcast yesterday. He just said it's one thing to see it in the locker room, but when you see it on the field, when he goes out and throws those 1, 2, 3 interceptions, and he comes back and say, "Look, I believe y'all. Like there's not a doubt in my mind that you're gonna go get the ball back." It's something to that. And then he's planting these little seeds. Can you imagine going into having a players only meeting and the guy who's been already hyping y'all up for 5 weeks straight comes in and say, "Oh yeah, in 5 weeks y'all got something special coming." Because they already chopping at the bits. Like I'm ready to run through a wall now. So I imagine how that conversation went. It's gonna be special.
Dude, I'm not even lying to you. I got goosebumps right now, man.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I read that quote and it popped, it got me going, and then I read it again, like I didn't already know what it said. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's just like it's just this thing where Flacco, since he's been here, I think the quote for me that really got me the most, I don't know, excited, or just the point where I really thought, oh, I see how this team is different. And I think it was when he said, thanks for having me. And I feel like a 10-year-old kid out there. And I was like, if you watch it, the dude's got his dad energy out there, flinging it all over the place. He's playing for his kids. He's got like this little posse that follows him around in 15 jersey. It's cute as hell. And he's got these kids. He had to buy them all a bunch of Brown stuff for Christmas, after, him and Santa Claus, of course, and had to get the Brown stuff for him. And it's just like, when you watch him, although as Casey pointed out on the sideline during the games, he never looks like he's having a good time. He's just like,
be ready to go home.
Yeah, right. He's like, what time is this game over? Like, I gotta get to the Golden Corral for the 5 o'clock special or something. But it's this confidence where there's no expectations. I mean, when he came in, there was no expectation for him. He was just like, you're like, whatever. There's too many injuries. Their quarterbacks are gone. The defense just, I don't think it's got enough because the offense isn't going to be able to do anything. And he's just like, yeah, but what if I just fucked around and won a Super Bowl? And you're like,
I think you kind of said like the best word to talk about it was like, you know how like some dads try to overly do too much, and it's good that it's nice to hear it from the player perspective, so I'm not just pulling stuff out of thin air. I asked it very specifically. I said his leadership. Did he exert it, or did you just kind of like everyone just go to him? And he said everyone gravitated to him, and I think you can see it on the sidelines where that one clip. I love the clip where he's it's against Jacksonville. He's like, let's go out there and finish these off. You know what I mean? Like, let's finish them off. And he's not overly trying to win everybody over, but he has just enough dad swag to convince these young boys that I'm gonna take you to the promised land, and everyone sees it. And that's why I think it's the perfect storm. It really is.
Yeah, for me, what the coolest part of this is like this was over for him. Like no one wanted him. He was sitting at home. Season starts, but he had that thought that was like, man, if I get another crack at this, and you're seeing it play out now. Where just like you said, perfect storm came to the perfect team with the perfect coach calling the plays, the personnel to make it work, and he's taking full advantage of it and enjoying the ride because he also knows this isn't long. This isn't for long, but it's been powerful, man. And if you would have told me before the season, man, you guys are going to be pumped heading to the playoffs because Joe Flacco is going to be slinging it, I might have gave you a drug test. I might have figured like, what? No way. You know what I'm saying?
We're seeing it. We're all
failing. Living this in real time is wild. You know what I mean? Because we are, dude. As a fan base, we are amped right now because of Joe Flacco's play. That's crazy to me.
You talked about it in the beginning of the show. You said you've been a fan all your life and you've seen 8 playoff games. They had a caller on the radio today. I think it was either today or yesterday. The kid was 15 years old, and he said this is my 3rd playoff game, and this is the year we go all the way. And I'm just thinking, you spoiled, rotten freaking brat. Because I've seen the same amount of playoff games as you. Well, I've seen the Pittsburgh one. I think I was 7 at the time. I cried after we lost that game. And that's the only thing other than the taste that we almost had in 2007 and 8 when Tennessee couldn't, or Indianapolis benched their starters and Tennessee ended up getting that last spot. Man, I could not believe it. It was like, really, you guys aren't going to help out us one time? Like, come on. And then do you remember how bad it was the next year? Like, we were so hyped. Oh, we got all these Pro Bowlers. Braylon's going to take the next step. Winslow's going to be the next thing. And then we go 4-12. I'm like, this is a joke. No way.
And they gave us primetime games, and we was all set up. And then, but see, that's what's happened. That's kind of been the tale of this. You think about that's what 19 was. 18, you get pumped up. 19, you fall on your face.
You know what
20 gets us pumped up. 21 fall on the face.
I think we stopped falling on our faces, and I think more so that 19 and 21 was exactly what we needed. Because if we hadn't experienced any of that and we went right into this storm with all of these things that never happened, interceptions going your way, referees giving you calls at the end of games back-to-back weeks in San Francisco and the Colts, getting missed field goals versus San Francisco, like you tally up all the things that have happened to us this year, including the injuries. No other season we might have been 1-15. We might have seen another 0-16 year. And I think had we not had that little hiccup, which was, oh, damn, we tasted the playoffs, and then we came back down. Baker Mayfield obviously didn't work out, but you still have all of the studs in piece. You got Denzel Ward, you got Myles Garrett, you got Nick Chubb, you have a coach and a GM who have been together for now 4 years now. It's like, it is truly exactly what needed to happen for us to go up against the Houston Texans on Saturday versus the team we gave the farm to. It literally is the perfect story.
You can't make up a better one. Like you can't. It's like it's so.
You throw in the Flacco shit, and this is straight up Disney at this point.
it's like, it's just so interesting because you talked to Quincy Carrier. I come back to this tweet that he put out several weeks ago, just because it's fascinating to me. He said, all these backup quarterbacks and all this like tension on the internet of people arguing how to handle the backup, because you had people in Cleveland saying that the Browns failed because they didn't have a better backup than DTR and eventually PJ Walker and all those things. And it's just like, which team has those backups,
Mm-hmm.
But Quincy's point was, the way you fix the backup quarterback is the rest of the roster. You make the rest of the roster great. And they made this roster top to bottom. I mean, I know I'm coming back to this point in, like, who was it that I read? It was during Nick's victory laps on Twitter. And I saw something about, like, oh, they've got frontline starters on defense, but their depth is shit. Yeah, because we've got our fourth and fifth safeties out there schooling dudes. We lost, Myles Garrett was injured. We thought we were going to lose him. You lost one of your best pass rushers in Okoronkwo. They haven't batted an eye. I know he's coming back, but in the games that he missed, they didn't bat an eye.
Mm-hmm.
Denzel Ward missed multiple games. Didn't matter.
But you know where that goes to, though? And it's where everybody discredits. It's those 4th, 5th, 6th round picks in the draft that nobody likes and nobody talks about. And usually teams don't get to that point. But if you go to the great teams, if you go obviously the one team that you can go to is New England. How many 5th, 6th undrafted guys are stepping up and making plays? How many cut Browns players went over there and won rings? Because it's just first off, it's the coaching, but evaluating the talent. So the talent evaluation was semi-right. You just didn't have the players or the coaching to execute the talent that you had. Mm-hmm. Because you've seen it with Jim Schwartz to Joe Woods. You have basically the same roster, a la you added some very fine pieces and, Dalvin Tomlinson and Ogba and all those guys. I'm not going to go down the list, but it's just it's a credit to really from the top down. Like, when have you ever been able to be like, hey, from Jimmy Haslam to Andrew Berry to Kevin Stefanski down, it's been a fantastic job organizationally. So I think it's credit to everyone there, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, my point being, like, look at the assistant coaches, man. They're getting these kids to buy in. They're in the system. So then it becomes plug and play. You know what I mean? To where that next man up, because that's a good thing to say. But when it really happens and you're executing that, you can't argue with the system. The system's working, man. These kids are bought in. They're identifying the proper people to put in those positions. And even the guys they brought in off the street have been able to, like, fit in kind of seamlessly. Yeah. And that's organizational stability right there.
Harmon, he came in late in the game or late in the week and got that interception in Houston first game. Like, it's just incredible what we're witnessing, honestly.
Yeah, and it sets everything up to where you were able to put such a roster in place that a guy like Flacco could step right in and don't get me wrong, Flacco's playing out of his mind, but a lot of that has to do with the system around him and the play caller and everything, just everything working out, and everything was in place to where you were able to go get a Daron Harmon and plug him in, and he was able to play. It was like, okay, we need a veteran safety because Rodney McLeod's lost for the year, and then, of course, Delpit as well, and that sort of thing. But it's like, oh, we'll grab a safety who's a good player, but because of everything else and with the coaching and the schemes and the situations we're going to put them in, we can plug these guys in and keep going because that's where we are. We can take undrafted 2 years in a row, undrafted free agent safeties have made the roster. And Anthony Bell has made a massive impact this year. Ronnie Hickman's made a massive impact this year. And it's just like, it's this evaluation, exactly like you said, Zay. I mean, look at my favorite guy. He's my favorite guy. I got to interview him last year. It was the coolest thing I've ever done. Alex Wright took a lot of shit this offseason. He struggled last year.
He did.
I mean, he was a rookie coming out of UAB that did not get developed worth a shit. And like I was trying to say, I'm like, listen, he's got these ridiculous physical tools, but you got to give him some time. And I know everybody else wanted to quit on him, but the Browns were like, they played him because they had to with injuries last year. Now in comes Jim Schwartz, in comes a second year in an NFL strength and conditioning program with a legitimate, I think Ben Bloom has done. They got rid of Chris Kiffin and putting Ben Bloom as the defensive line coach was just an absolute fantastic idea. And they pair that with Jim Schwartz, and Alex Wright's got a sack in 4 straight games.
And then you talk about another guy, sorry to cut you off, Jordan Elliott, to go along with him. I mean, he was on the radio and he talked about he didn't even know if he was going to be on the team. And you want to talk about an impact from a what string is he? You got Tomlinson above him. You got is he the third guy?
He's the third, yeah. But
a third guy who's not only blocked field goals in important moments, but has had big tackle for losses, has had major sacks in big moments. This is a guy that didn't know if he was going to be on the roster 17 weeks ago. It is incredible, and it just doesn't happen to Cleveland Browns players. It doesn't. That's why it's so different.
Yeah, we don't know what it's like to develop our own. That's not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking. I woke up this morning thinking about if the season ends on Saturday, I don't think it will, but if it does, no matter what, they're going to go into next year with a head coach and general manager that's going into their 5th season with the team.
And you know where I'm at with that, man?
Think about that.
Mike, because you guys know before I was on the Fire Stefanski train. I'm completely off it now. He's my guy. I'm so bought in. He's it. But it's just it's crazy because what I fear now, and I don't like talking about fear when we got a playoff game, but what I fear in the offseason is people are going to see the Mike Vrabels of the world. I think Tomlin's finally out of the clear, but you're going to see some of these big heavy hitters come out, and there's going to be that select group out there that's going to be like, man, the grass may be greener on the other side, and I think we are at a point of no return. We have got our guy for as long as he crashes this thing. If he does not crash this, he should be our coach. Like, he should be our Marvin Lewis for the next 10 years. He's solidified his spot in this organization because he implemented a culture, and the players back, and they continuously say this is Kevin Stefanski's culture, and he's earned it. He's truly earned it. It took 4 years, but he earned it.
Just to catch up on some comments, Rocky highlighting Isaiah McGuire, who had his first 2 career sacks. I really enjoyed what McGuire did on Sunday because I'm very high on the McGuire train as well as one of my favorite ones. What's going on, Jared? His show's now on Network 216. He's on Thursday, so it feels pretty weird to be watching on Tuesdays. I understand that. It's an interesting thing kind of here. Stefanski seemed to change along with the culture. I think you've seen more personality out of him because I think he figured out that's where he is now, where he is as a coach.
I think he understood the assignment because David Njoku actually had a comment on it. Somebody asked him, I think it was Hayden Grove. It might have been Hayden Grove or somebody from, I think, Cleveland.com asked him on one of the side interviews. He said, well, here's what I can give you about Stefanski. He just said the emotion has been different over the years. And he's like, we feed off of it. He's like, we needed it and we love it. And I think years prior, they weren't getting that, and you've seen it in the players.
But that's also, we talk about player development, like coach development's a real thing. Dude was young for a head coach when he got here. Now he's aging like a president, so people get that misled. But like you can see it. He's grown as a coach. He's grown, like we talked about at the last show.
He's barely
had to make some right. That dude had to make some tough decisions in the offseason. He had to fire friends, and that isn't easy, man. When you got to tell you dudes who you came in with, like, sorry, it ain't working, and pivot and move forward, and you're seeing more emotion out of him now. He's definitely grown as a leader, and just you can hear it in every single player's interview, man. They're echoing his sentiments, dude. We're not used to it. It's like culture shock for us because, like you said, man, we've been a rotating door, and when you look around the league, when you look at Baltimore with Harbaugh and Steelers with Tomlin, they have these pillars in place, and a lot of things can change around it, but as long as they keep that culture in place, it feels like they're just reloading.
You know what rebuilding. They do best that we're finally starting to do? It's they weather storms. How many times have we heard John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin on the hot seat? I mean, this year, everyone wanted Mike Tomlin fired this year. I think it was a few years ago. I think it was right when Joe Flacco and the transition to Lamar Jackson, they wanted John Harbaugh out. And I mean, they weathered every storm that has gone through that has been thrown at them, and this has been the first year that we've weathered the storm. No matter what it was, whether it was a hurricane, tsunami, or a tornado, we freaking weathered it all, and we're still standing. And that's why we're playing Saturday.
We weathered a Sharknado at that.
Mm-hmm.
You ever watched any of those films?
No, I watched Meg though.
Oh, you watched Meg?
Yeah, I like the Meg.
I saw Meg.
I think I'm gonna watch the Meg 2. It's on Netflix. I haven't.
It wasn't bad. It was all right. They kept the little girl in it. They got the little girl. She grown up now, so she played in there. But I won't give any spoilers for you. But it was the first one was definitely miles better. But it was still decent. It was decent.
I just like the part in the trailer where Jason Statham stares down this shark like he thinks he's tough enough to kick its ass. And I'm like, listen, man, you're a bad motherfucker, but like, that's a shark.
No, that's a megalodon. That's not just a shark.
It's like, that's a shark. That's a big, big, big shark. You ain't that tough. I want to catch up over here on some of the comments here. Njoku and Stefanski really butted heads. I mean, he did. Stefanski replaced him. Like, Stefanski walked in, signed Austin Hooper, and drafted Harrison Bryant and the same year. And Njoku was like, I want out. And they're like, no, you're too good of a talent. And that's one of the things I respect so much about David Njoku is he put his head down, worked his ass off, and he's reaping the rewards right now.
He did exactly what Baker Mayfield should have did. And that's why it's like I get we did Baker Mayfield wrong. Trust me. I think both sides handled it terribly. But at the end of the day, you've got you're fighting for a contract. You should have put your head down. And could you imagine if Baker Mayfield came in instead of Jacoby Brissett and did exactly what he was supposed to do? I mean, why not have that feud between Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson at that point? Because you knew he was coming in at week 11. You already had it that Baker Mayfield was halfway out the door. You set him up and say, hey, buddy, we're going to give you this one last go around and give you your tape. Go out there and make a hoorah. And then at the end of the year, we'll send you off about your way. I think he could have just handled it differently on his end to, give him a little bit more leverage, but ultimately he found his home in Tampa, and I'm rooting for him.
I'm happy for Baker. I really am.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like he's having more fun this year, enjoying the moments as they come. Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, Sherry's in. Hey, Sherry. What's going on, Sherry? How you doing? I don't know. Sharks are going to shark, she said. She said sharks are going to shark. They really are. I don't mess with sharks. I'm afraid of sharks. There's a lot of things I'm afraid of, boys, and sharks are...
I fuck with sharks.
Do you?
I fuck with sharks. Heavy.
Why?
Why? Dude, I don't know, man. I saw Jaws when I was like 4. I've loved sharks my whole life.
I love Jaws.
When I get fancy, I put on a shark shirt, Jacob. You know this about me. I ain't playing games.
He does put on shark shirts. Hey, have you ever been to Universal Studios on the Jaws ride? Like in
I have.
In the early 2000s when it was really bad.
When it was scary. Well, I was a kid, so I was scared as hell.
Yeah.
I was scared. When that thing jumped out of the water, man, and it was at nighttime when we rode it. Oh, I'll never forget that. I'll never forget that.
There's that Jurassic Park ride too, where you're coming to the end of the Jurassic Park. You're like all these raptors and stuff. You come to the end and there's a T-Rex and it's like, rah, and you're like, shit, and then it drops straight down right
and then
in front
it spits at you, and I'm like, wait a minute, did I just get actually spit on? And it's like water mist. I'm like, oh, they tripping in here. Hold on, they gotta warn you before something like that.
Yeah, right. It's like, come on. All right,
I thought I got actually spit on by the electronical device.
Yeah, I'd never experienced anything like that. Man, it's like shit. Okay, let's talk about the game. We've talked about the season. We've reminisced. We've laughed. We've joked. We've had a good time. Let's talk about the game. Big differences. Obviously, C.J. Stroud playing in this game. It's a massive difference from Case Keenum. One thing that I think goes a long way is going to be the handling of Nico Collins, because Nico Collins, especially with Tank Dell out, Nico Collins has gone to another level. He's played well all year, but he's picked up the slack for CJ Stroud with Tank Dell out. He's kind of taken it to another level. Although I feel confident about Martin Emerson on Nico Collins, but the differences with CJ Stroud. I'll start with you, Casey, and I'll go to you, Zae, after that. Just man, just let's start defensively. What are I don't know. Give me your biggest key or two keys or what the defense has got to do.
Zae touched on it, but I mean, I see the game the same way, man. This is the defense's game. I saw a ton of narrative, and I had to write about it, man. It's just everyone's like, well, they should be scared to play CJ Stroud. It's like, bro, he's a rookie. He's a talented rookie. He's had a great year. You should respect his game, but he's a rookie facing one of, if not the most dangerous defense in the league, led by a veteran defensive coordinator who straight up gets after inexperienced quarterbacks. It's the pressure for me. It's the turn up that pressure, and they're well rested. Like a well rested Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith getting Ogbo back. That's got to be terrifying, man. Laramie Tunsil's a decent left tackle at this stage in his career, but he ain't handling Myles Garrett. Tell it like it is. It's kids gonna have to get the ball out of his hands, and Nico Collins is a decent receiver, and he stepped his game up a level. He ain't played these defensive backs. I'm straight, even if it's Denzel or Martin, either one, man. Like I feel confident, and I'm not trying to be. I'm just looking at this from a straight up analytical point of view. The Texans are good. They're probably like in our minds, what are they? 2 years early? Like if you told us before the season they made the playoffs, you wouldn't have had that.
They were us in 2020.
Yeah, you're a year or two out. They got there early just because their quarterback took a big step. But if they had Tank Dell, this would be a more formidable offense because they could run a little more quick game. But I don't see anything there that scares me, man. I don't unless they get set up with short fields or they return another kick or some weird shit like that happens. I don't see them in this game. I think that this is a game where if they score 17 points, that is a gargantuan effort for them.
I have the same feel with it's weird to say that because it's like, why you would think we would be scared of somebody, but at this point, I'm not scared of anybody. So why would I be scared of CJ Stroud and a young Texas team? Like Baltimore, everyone goes to Baltimore. It's like, yeah, sure, they got Lamar, but we've shown that we can beat them. And that was during the midst of some of the most brutal social media talk that we had to stomach through that we know players heard about. And because that was right around the time when Deshaun Watson, he went 14 of 14. And so like we've seen that we can beat these teams. I'm not worried about CJ Stroud. The only thing I'm worried about is if he catches lightning in a bottle and he turns out to be the next phenom. Because if he is as good as what he's been advertising, he's been damn good. You're going to have your real test this week going up against the best defense in the league. And if you can shred this defense, I think you're talking about Houston potentially doing, who's a team that caught like the Cardinals when they went 9-7 and they snuck in with Kurt Warner. Like if they beat us, they have a shot to do it at that point. So I'm not scared of nobody, honestly. I'm really not.
I love it. It's just like I'm trying to find this week I've been trying to kind of find the words, and especially for Browns Wire, I've been trying to cook something up to write something, just haven't quite got around to putting my thoughts on it quite yet. But I think about if you can put pressure on a rookie in the playoffs with Martin Emerson, Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, if Grant Delpit's back, with those guys, Juan Thornhill behind him, he's throwing the ball against those guys under duress all day long. It's like, I love CJ Stroud, man, but he ain't faced a defense like this. And he's played some good defenses. He has, and he's played well this year. You don't throw for 4,000 yards because you're nobody. But man, you ain't seen Myles Garrett yet. Man, you ain't seen Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Tomlinson. Man, Alex Wright, Shelby Harris. Four of them on the field at the same time.
The first three guys you is kind of where the point where I'm going to go to. And I think the big common denominator here, where I think the biggest key that you asked is it's going to be who can remain the most disciplined. And I think because you do have a lot of young guys on this team. You do have Martin Emerson, who's a second-year guy. You've got D'Anthony Bell, who's been stepping in. Obviously, Juan Thornhill's the veteran, but I'll talk on the veterans in a second. But all of the young guys that have been making a lot of the plays this year are going to get a taste of something that they've been barking to get at all freaking year. And I think when you talk about like a guy like Rodney McLeod, it sucks that he's not on the field, because when you hear a guy like D'Anthony Bell talk about Rodney McLeod and how much of an asset his leadership brought to the secondary and that secondary room, that is what trumps all of this, because those guys are going to be like, hey, it's going to be rowdy these first couple drives, but hone it on in. And once they get them locked in, the leadership, I mean, we've got all the right leaders in all the right places. And then Myles Garrett has already been here now, so he wants to get to the next level. So this is not foreign territory to him. Denzel Ward has been here. This is not foreign territory to him. Juwan Thornhill has won a freaking Super Bowl. This is damn sure not foreign territory to him. So, I mean, you've got guys, and the Zadarius Smith has obviously had runs, but it's about to get real scary for anybody who faces someone in that brown and orange, because you've got dogs who have been on leashes outside, abandoned, who are freaking hungry. And I'm telling you now, y'all better buckle up. Is it game time yet? Because damn, I'm ready to go right now. Shoot.
Zae, if I write you a script for my alarm clock, would you record that so I can get that shit pumping through me every morning at 6:45?
Look, right.
Put it in there.
Get a couple get off the fields going. You know?
Yeah. Just get it all pumped in there. Just get me. I thought I was at church there for a second. I was getting ready. I was feeling something. I don't know what was going on,
man. I'm so ready.
Josh wants to tell you, Casey, that Brian says hi, but he understands that you're too famous right now. So,
dude, shout out to Josh. I used to run that theater where he lives, and Brian was my dude. Tuesday Brian, that dude was the only dude that would give me the business. He did not care that I was his boss. That dude would straight up tell me whatever he wanted. He was hilarious, and I miss Brian.
Oh man, that's great. Hey, did you see? I can't remember where it was. Did you see the statue of a dick?
No, you imagine I missed that. That's crazy.
I mean, there's one right here, but
well, they just erected it.
Oh God.
If I could throw a tomato.
I wish I had a sound.
It's like that I have it saved on my phone so that I can use it. It's that clip from SpongeBob. He's like, "Oh, brother, this guy stinks."
Yeah.
And whenever, who was it? I did it a few times last year when there were some bad moments with John Johnson. I would just post that. So I just like to do that. Iron Claw. Oh yeah, the Iron Claw just came out. Yeah, I'm trying to.
Yeah, I want to see that, man.
I
definitely want to see that.
I'm really interested because seeing. I always think of him as Lip from Shameless.
Mm-hmm.
It's what I always like to. What I always think of.
Jeremy Allen White.
I never remember his first name, but that's what I always think about him. And now he's like in this movie, and he's just jacked to all hell. Mm-hmm. It's just I always think about him like in season.
Natty.
1.
I'm sure it's all natural.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's
the finest Mexican supplements. I promise.
Okay. Well, it's just I don't. It's so. Let me ask you. We talked about defense. We've talked about getting pressure. We've talked about the leadership there. And you got the ultimate leadership. You've got Joe Flacco on the other side, just in terms of guys that have been there, done that. He's had a run like this before when he won the Super Bowl, where he threw 11 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I will point out he has never thrown for 300 yards in more than 2 consecutive games. He's currently got it for 4 straight games. He's playing the best he's ever played. I pointed that out to our guest last week, Mac the Buffalo, and he was like, he hadn't realized that. Yeah, Joe Flacco had never stacked more than 2 games in a row of 300 passing yards his entire career, and he's currently got 4 of them. He's currently doubled that. So he's literally, like, you talk about how hot he was in 2012. He's hotter than that right now, and he's also playing really good football.
No, yeah,
no. We talking about no. I'm waiting for the question.
But I said he's really hot right now, but he's also playing good football. It was like he's attractive. That's what I was.
That's what you're going for?
I was saying, like,
I mean, we know he's damn attractive. I mean,
he's like a sexy
38.
son of a bitch. Yeah.
No, I think I think the difference now is he has nothing to lose. I mean, he's already a Cleveland legend. How can you be a Cleveland legend in 5-6 weeks when you pissed on us for 10 years?
Yep.
It's unbelievable what he's doing, and I think the difference now, again, like, no, actually, I think it's a parallel. Both teams were a team of destiny. Ray Lewis's last year,
Yeah,
that defense was stout. It just felt like, damn, they might do it. And then he goes on to throw no interceptions in that amazing run as well. Then you parallel it to this year. I mean, you got 10 season-ending injuries. You've had started 5 different quarterbacks, and you've weathered every storm, and you're the 5th seed. And you got an opportunity to prove to the Jets and to the Broncos and to the Ravens and to all the other 31 teams that you can kiss my ass this week, because I'm giving this Browns team everything that I have left, and they're going to get every ounce of knowledge that I have. They're going to get every ounce of arm that I have. That's why we've seen him throw for 400 yards straight, or 400 whatever yard games straight, is because he may next year, this could be his last go round. So it's the perfect parallel, honestly. I'm ready for it. Can we freaking get to Saturday, please?
I know, that's why I'm trying to temper my excitement, man. I'm trying not to, but you got me wanting to freaking run laps.
Dude, no, embrace it. Ride the lightning, dude. Just ride this out.
I don't want to anymore. I'm ready. I'm about to take a Xanax for 7 days straight and go to sleep. Might as well
wake up and it just be Saturday.
Yeah, he's like, what fucking day is it?
Like the Matrix, where it's just Morpheus. I plug me in at this time right now. I don't need nothing else but 8:30. That's or 4:30. That's the problem about it, though. It's like, we're still used to 1 o'clock games. Yes, we gotta wake up. We gotta watch all this bull on TV, all these hype videos, and then we gotta wait past 1 o'clock, and then that 4 o'clock hour. When 4 o'clock hits, that 30-minute window is going to be the longest 30-minute window, because it's really going to be 40 minutes, because it usually starts 10 minutes after the designated time. Oh man, it's going to be annoying as hell.
I'm like,
yeah, but as soon as the season's over, you're going to miss that.
Yeah, because I'm going to want to start it right back up next year. This offseason is going to be brutal.
Well, I'll tell you something about Flacco that I found out today, because I was on Sports for CLE, and they were talking about if he wins his next road game, he'll have the most road game victories in NFL history, quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So I got curious. I was like, I wonder when his last one was. His last playoff win was a road win against the Steelers. It was January 3rd, 2015.
Shocker.
So then I went further on a Google search. How long ago was that? It'll be just shy of 3,300 days if he wins on Saturday between playoff wins. That's got to be a record. Has there ever been a quarterback that's went that long between playoff victories? I don't think that. How? Like, how could that happen?
Who would be the closest one? I'm trying to think. Would it be like? No,
I don't know.
I was saying
it's crazy. It's crazy, man. That's. Most NFL careers don't last that long.
You said 2015, so 9 years?
Yeah, January 3rd, 2015. Yes.
Wow.
Between playoff wins.
I think the thing that it's crazy for me is, like, since we're kind of talking about, off the wall stuff, like, I just don't understand if you're the Browns. Like, I understand if you're the Browns because you have your quarterback of the future. But, like, if you're not a team that's on the brink of something great, you see what you need to do. How does he not have – if he's throwing the ball like this, how does he not have a few more years left in him? That's what makes me nauseating. It just gives me that throw up feeling right here when you know it's just getting ready to come up, but I'm trying to hold it down. It's just that he got so much left. You can't tell me he has the perfect roster. Ride this roster until the wheels fall off. You
It's
have
just
a
crazy 'cause
quarterback.
It's going to be a fascinating offseason of conversation. If they win it all, if they legitimately go out there and win it all, oh my God. You thought the Baker Wars were tough.
It's just the NFL culture in general, though, because of his age, they'll come up with reasons why it can't happen. Like
Yeah.
Easton Stick is out there getting starts, while Joe Flacco was on the couch. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
Trevor
So they
Siemian
just-
has multiple opportunities. He's garbage.
the Jets told him no thank you.
The Jets legitimately said no thank you and opted to start Tim Boyle instead.
It's age. Like, you got to stop looking past that age crap. Like, does he fit in the system? Like, this is where it's like Kevin Stefanski has been searching for what works for him, and we've seen it because there's always a certain style with Stefanski, but he always has wanted to pass the ball. And you have a quarterback that wants to pass the ball 45 plus times and will do it at will. And not only can he pass the ball, but he does the one thing that Stefanski takes what? 1, 2, maybe 3 shots a game. You need a guy who is going to execute on that shot on a high clip. And the one thing that no quarterback has done at that rate is hit on a high clip. Deshaun Watson missed Marquise Goodwin the first 3 weeks of the season on a deep ball. It took Jacoby Brissett 7 weeks, I believe, until he caught his first deep ball to Amari Cooper last year. Joe Flacco came in week 1 and smacked Jerome Ford for a 70-yard pop and David Njoku for a 50-yard pop right out the gate. So you're talking about maximizing your dagger or your special
Your
weapon,
explosives. Yeah.
your special ability, your stunner right out the gate, because teams are going to have to commit to the run. They're going to have to play fill the box up. And when they go play action, Joe Flacco is arguably the best play actioner we've ever seen in the history of play action. And more than likely he's going to put that ball on the freaking money. And that's, I think, what is the big difference in all these quarterbacks that we've seen, from Deshaun Watson to Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield. None of them have been able to execute the deep ball, and Joe Flacco can execute that. That's a specialty.
Those explosives loosen everything up underneath, and then you start to see the underneath stuff come, those drag routes, and you're right. You're 100% right. And that's what makes this team dangerous, though, because you could get them for like 3 or 4 series in a row where they don't do anything, but they're going to remain explosive. They're going to hit an explosive and change the field and flip the field. And, heaven forbid you don't tackle, they'll take one to the house on you. Mm-hmm. That's the reason I was so excited about Marquise Goodwin in this offense with Joe Flacco. We've seen it once.
We've seen it once. It's just it's frustrating. I think the thing with Marquise Goodwin is what to expect when you see him. So I feel like I think this year you kind of just keep playing it how you're playing it, obviously. But I think next year, if Marquise Goodwin is going to stick around and you're going to continue to want to utilize him the way that you want to, I think you have to find a way to optimize him in other ways. Because when I see Marquise Goodwin come in, I know they're either going to run that wraparound jet sweep, the quick sweep, or they're going to go play action and they're going to try to hit him across the middle or deep ball. So you kind of know what to expect when you see Marquise Goodwin, and you got that speed, man. Let's just give him a ball on the jet sweep. Let him take one of those Puka, like turn it around, hand it to him, and let him run off to the races. You know what I mean? So that's what I want to see, honestly.
Well, they've kind of tapered off towards the end of the season, running some of that stuff. So hopefully they just kind of put in their back pocket so they can unleash it in the playoffs. And I don't know if that'll be this week. So we're talking about the playoffs. Let's look at it like a path. What do you see as the most optimal path for the playoffs in the AFC right now?
I want the hardest path. I don't want no excuses. I want Baltimore. I wanted Baltimore more than any. I wanted the path to be Pittsburgh, or I wanted the path to be, I think it was Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Baltimore. I wanted it in that order at a certain point in time, but then obviously Kansas City's not as good as they were, but they still have Patrick Mahomes. But I wanted to go through the gauntlet because you already know, regardless if we win the championship or not, we are in a lose-lose situation with fans across that are not Browns fans. They'll find a way to try to taint our championship, and they'll say all the dumb stuff they could. I don't want them being like, oh, well, you guys got an easy Houston team. Oh, you got a disgruntled Patrick Mahomes. Oh, the Ravens had so many injury. But nah, strap up. We need to go one on one, mano y mano. We here now. We're not the little brothers no more. We are not the little brothers no more. And this team feels like they're the best in the world. And if we're the best in the world, you got to beat the best in the world. So give me Baltimore and give me who else, and give me Buffalo and give me San Francisco in the Super Bowl, or who else? The Lions, is that the other team that's right there with San Francisco? I don't give
Yeah,
a damn
that's
who.
right.
I
Yeah.
want the toughest teams possible, honestly.
Yeah.
Clip that shit. That's the trailer right there. What he just said. That's the script.
Houston Ravens Bills is worthy, is what Joe says.
I'm down with it 100%.
Josh agrees. He wants Baltimore week 2.
And Josh had a good point. I talked to him earlier. They're ice cold, man. They've been playing. You know, you're gonna catch them on 3 weeks rest, and you're humming. You know what I mean? That could be the move right there.
The one thing I am worried about, though, which I don't think I have a big worry about it, because I think this team has shown me enough to where I don't need to be worried about it. But we saw how the team responded last week. They were checked out. We've seen this team check out when the Houston game, they were up big. They scored 2 touchdowns. Joe Flacco had to come back in, which is why Amari Cooper ended up breaking the record. There's times where this team will take their foot off the gas. And I hope that this past week, where guys got to get a little bit of rest, they've got all this energy built up, and your body gets a chance to recover. But we also know that maybe this first drive isn't as smooth, or the first quarter isn't as smooth as what it could have been had they played the previous week. Like I said, I don't think that they're that locked out. I think they're as locked in as they can be, and I think the leadership will aid in keeping that in check. But if they can come out and let that little jitter get out on the first drive, I think we're going to pick up right where we left off, honestly. But that's the one thing I'm worried about. Did that little time off and all that anxiety build up, is it going to affect them in a way that we're used to seeing? And I don't think it will.
I think it was Shelby Harris that said it. Man, I'm trying to remember, but it was Shelby Harris. It was a veteran player that's been around a lot of playoffs and a lot of team meetings, who said that Monday's night's team meeting was the greatest he's ever been around.
I saw that.
And it's like, dude's been to the Super Bowl. Like, he's been there. And it's like, I like to look, I don't know. I look at some of these practice, for example, I watched you interview D'Anthony Bell, and I picked up the way he was talking with you last night. It's like, I don't think these guys are lax. Like I understand the people that have that concern, because I get it. But like, these dudes, they're hearing it, because all of a sudden people wanted to start to give the Browns their dues. But as soon as they kind of got into the playoffs, and the Browns are the Browns, all of a sudden they suck again. It feels like there's this, there's so many people out there on Twitter, at least, that try to tear them down. And they're like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Just wait till Saturday. You know what I mean? It's like, we're going to go out there. We're going to leave absolutely everything on the field and make sure that the better team wins, and they are the better team.
Bell said it good. I was like, it's not going to be like that. He's like, because he was like, we embraced the underdog mentality. He's like, we love that people doubt us. We've been thriving off it all year. And I'm like, it's not going to be like that next year. And he goes, well, that's good. He's like, but we keeping the same mentality, because, while we may have a target on our back, they looking at it through their own lens. So they got targets on everyone else's back. And I just feel like we haven't heard players speak in that regards. Like, I'm trying to think back at some of the confident players that we've had, which, obviously isn't many when it comes to the media world. And just to hear him say that, yeah, we can have a target on our back, but we pointing out they targets too. We shooting at other targets as well. It's like, man, they are just so ready for war. When has any Browns team been ready for freaking war like this? It truly is a proud dad moment to watch this team grow, because just last year, this team wasn't ready for war. They were ready to defend. They were ready to play defense against the media. They were ready to play defense against, themselves. When it's just like, put your heads down and just fight the battle. And that's what this team has embraced, and I love it, man. I really do.
I want to catch up, make sure everything. Our good friend over on Twitter, very excited about the lineup today.
I love that picture of Myles Garrett. That's one of my favorite.
Yeah, it's my screensaver.
His booty cheeks all clenched. No, pause. Never mind. Oh, you look at that ass every day.
Every day. Multiple times.
If you want me to look at it, just send me a message. I'll get to see it.
There's only a few men that you can look at and just be like, man, that is a piece. That is a sculpture of art. Like, I mean, Myles Garrett is a freaking specimen, man.
Yeah, him and David Njoku. It's like I don't.
I
would never take my shirt off. I wanted to get this question as we kind of wrap the show up.
Great question.
And I'll start with you, Zae, and we'll go around the horn and wrap this thing up, man. Like, what do you guys rather prefer, to be on offense or defense first on Saturday?
They've been throwing the offense out there at a consistent rate. I feel like go let Joe throw it. Go let Joe. This team, if you let this team, because we've seen it. If this team gets a lead, they are a different breed on defense. Ears start to get pinned back. Myles Garrett starts to do between the leg moves. He starts doing all these things that we see, that we love. Greg Newsome is celebrating, but when they got to play from behind, they don't get to, be themselves as fully as we would like. So let's get Joe out there. Let them come out. Let them get that nice little 8-play, 82-yard drive, 6 minutes right out the gate. And then let our defense go out there and get a quick 3 and out, and then we do it one more time with a 14-point lead. Why not? Right out the gate, honestly.
No notes.
He wants to set the tone. I don't have any notes. I mean, I think that's where I'm at.
That's the move. I didn't even know what I was going to say until you said that. No, that's it. And they have been. You're right. They have been marching the offense out there. And since Joe's been here, they've been really efficient on the first drive, which was a hallmark of what Stefanski's been good at the last few years. And it hadn't been until Joe got in the lineup, and then you start to see it. We score touchdowns on that opening drive period. So
I think
this is a team that plays better with the lead, especially the way the defense can hunt. And I'm in. Sold.
I think it was last week was the first week was it last week or the week before was the first week we hadn't scored on the first drive?
The week before.
Since Flacco has been on the team.
Yeah.
He's a dog.
That's it, man. That's it. That's our Tuesday show. We do thank you. Nick normally wraps these things up. So I'm like, I do the intros. He doesn't wrap it up. But even though I know everybody knows, Zae, we're incredibly blessed and happy to have you here tonight, but make sure everybody knows where they can find all your stuff.
Chef Zae or Chef Zae 23 on all platforms, or you can just go to crockpotcle.com and it'll have all the good old information there. Make sure you guys check out the D'Anthony Bell podcast. He was freaking fantastic. He said he may get the guys on there. So if he gets the guys on there, it's going to be one for the ages. So make sure you guys are tapped in. But I appreciate you guys for having me. It's always a good time. I'm one call away, so I appreciate it.
We appreciate it, guys. Listen,
you're the man.
We will be Faithful Dogs will be tomorrow. Illegal Ham to the Face on Thursday night. Dog Chug tomorrow at 10. They got Molly Rose stopping by on there, so you want to check that out. I don't know our pregame time yet for Sunday, but it's or Saturday. It'll probably be like noonish, 1 o'clock. We'll do a pregame show. We'll do a postgame show that'll drop 9, 10 o'clock at night, probably on Saturday as well. So stay tuned, subscribe, like all that good shit, or don't. I'm not your dad. Go Browns. Yes, whatever.